Alright, what we're trying to make is a wooden Beyblade board. Beyblade. Didn't really know what it was until I had to look it up and kind of figure it out. But I'm going to try making this a double decker. So you'll have a one arena up here with a hole in the middle. And it drops down on this one. And then they finish out the battle here. So what I did already is, as you can see, I cut out the shape that I wanted. And then I started sanding out the center. Took a string. I found center, and I kept making circles all the way around. And I did about, I don't know, maybe 4 circles. And that kind of gave me a reference point as far as stepping it down. So I'll have tenon joints here and here for the second story to sit up on. And to kind of give you an idea, we'll put one there. Oh. So that's kind of Beyblades. These aren't Beyblades, these are just regular tops, but then they fight in the middle until one stops and you can see the orange one won. So that's Beyblades. Just fancy tops that go round in circles, just like a top. So what I'm going to continue doing is sanding this down. Right now this is just done at 80 grit. I'm going to keep sanding this down until I hit 220 and just keep trying to work this out. Keep feeling it as I go around, making sure there's no high spots. Trying to keep it as a circle as I can with a sander. I feel like I got a weird spot right about here that I'll have to get at. But other than that, it's feeling pretty good. And then I can start, once I get this done, I can start on my upper one. Alright, so I'll come bring you back when I'm done with that. Alright, as you can see, I got it all sanded down. This is all down to 220. This is all 220 on the outside. I went ahead and made these like little walls I'll go around it. They'll get glued in place. This way when one hits, the other one spins a whole lot faster than these. And if you watch the other YouTube videos, they bounce. They just ping, ping, ping. So I made 4 walls with them. They do have 4 exit routes, and I guess you can lose that way too. And so when they're bouncing, they have a chance of bouncing out the wall and coming back in. So you can kind of see how it's somewhat coming together. And the other things have a pull string or something that you do with them. But it's kind of what it's supposed to do, go to the middle and bounce off one another. So it looks like it's working out all right so far. Well, let's keep on going. I'll bring it back when I get a little bit further. Alright, so you can kind of see it coming together a little bit more. I got all my pieces cut for the edges. I'll go something like that. I got them all labeled so they'll go in their certain spot. These are mortise and tenoned in. So they'll be good and strong once they get glued in and they have a nice tight fit. That one, oh, no, there we go. Okay. Alright. So you can kind of see how that's coming along yet. You'll have these big spaces. I want the center of these at the center of this bump out here, I'll call it, this other little tenon that sticks out. And that should give equal spacing all the way around, so these gaps here are all the same width apart. This way it gives a place for the one guy to fly out when the other guy bumps him. Okay, so I'll bring you back when I'm a little bit further. These I just did on the table saw, laid them on their side, zip, zip, zip. For the mortise part, I just drilled 2 holes, chiseled it out. And this is all down, like I said, down to 220. So it's coming along quite nice, I think. And like I said, this is going to be an upper level that'll sit on here, and then it'll bowl down and fall into this one. And that's where they'll finish the battle. The Beyblade battle. Alright, so here we are. I'm starting to dish this out again. I'm just going to show you a quick skip of how I'm doing this. And then that's all I'm going to show you. But I'm just slowly lowering this blade about an 1/8 inch at a time. And I try keeping either the back or the front of the blade always pointed towards the center. I drilled a hole down 1 inch dead center of my circle. I took my compass and I went around and I gave myself a slight outline just to keep myself somewhat circular. And there's a hole dead center, as I said, and I keep always like this or like this, and I pivot this way. And I kind of go around like that. Yes, it's not the safest way of doing it, but it's a whole lot easier, I think, than a router it would be. Because a router is going to go straight down. You're going to have a slight cove on the outside of the cove bit, but I want this to be a slow dish. I don't want just drop-off dish, and it has to be still shallower or deeper in the middle, constantly going around in a circle, constantly getting smaller. And you can't do that with a router, I don't think. At least I don't think you can the way I want it to be done. So I'm going to show you now. So safety sallies, look away. I don't want to hear. Now, the one thing I did forget to mention is you got to keep this part, at least 2 corners, pressed to the table. So if I'm on this side, I'm pushing down on this handle, and this hand is doing no more than pulling this trigger and holding it so it doesn't take off in the direction it is. And I'm trying not to. It does happen once in a while, I'm not going to lie. To keep it so it's pointed always away from me, either front or backwards. So I'm always moving, so I might get in your way a few times. I'm sorry, but I'll do my best not get in your way, but my safety is more important than the video. Okay, so I'm going to lower this down just a smidgen. Smidgen is a fancy word for a little. There we go. That's about maybe a half a smidgen. Okay. Now you can see, wait till the noise stops. Now you can see how much I'm taking off. I mean, there is my pencil lead. That's how much it is. Okay. So it's not even the thickness of this pencil, of a flat carpenter's pencil. So I'm taking very little off because, yes, the saw blade is not intended to put side pressure on it. So I'm putting as minimal side pressure as I need to. This way there's less kickback, less chance of me bending my blade, all of that. Okay? So, here we go, again. Now you can see it going. Now you're going to see me kind of using more of the back of the blade than the front of the blade. So that is all I'm doing, and I keep going down as far as I need to. Then I take my sander here and kind of start working out your way from the outside to the inside, and you're constantly working it to a cone. I take those spinners and I spin them every once in a while once I get somewhat flat and see how it's working. That is exactly how I did this whole thing. This is all dished out. It's a 3/4 inch piece of plywood. So you're talking maybe a 5-inch, 5/8 of an inch depth from the outside here to the center here. And I want this one to be a little thicker, so I went with a 2x4 so I get that extra thickness. So, because once I'm done, that hole that's dead center in here, that's where I'm going to drill a bigger hole dead center in here. This way when the Beyblade goes, it wants to go into that hole faster. As they're spinning around here, they finally drop down the hole. So I got to go out here, probably about another 1.5 inches to go. But I want to get my center down as far as possible so I can keep this flat to here. Because if I go out here now, this is too wide for my circular saw to sit on here where it stays flat. Okay? So I'll bring you back when that's all done.